All right, how's it going, everyone? If you are a big coffee drinker, which in my case I am, you're tired of filling up the water reservoir multiple times a week just to get a few cups of coffee, there is a better way, and there's definitely a little bit more you can do in terms of getting a plumbed in setup. And I wanted to make this video just to talk through the process around that, overall what this looks like, some of the accessories you'll need, because there's definitely some kits out there, there's some information that's out there, but maybe not a lot of it that gets covered. So let me just go into some of the key things I think you're going to need first. Number one, obviously, is getting a coffee maker that supports a plumbed in line. So as you can see here on the back, this is a Keurig K2500. There is a line right there, section for a water line. There are other Keurig models, of course, that support this, the K155 or K150, K150P. That technically does as well. The K2500, I think, got replaced with the K2550. Basically the same thing with the brew over ice function. So, if you're going to do this, I would probably look into one of the commercial Keurig models just because it's going to be already, ready to go for this sort of thing. I will say with the K155, I think you have to buy a separate kit to be able to do the plumbed in setup that replaces the water reservoir. When it comes to the 2500 or the 2550, it just comes like this, right? Now you can get the water reservoir separately as an add-on, which I did also in this case, and that just kind of slots in the side. But ultimately, so you get a model that has the plumbed in setup, you'll be good to go on that front. Now, the one thing I'm going to recommend is the PureWater filters. They have a kit. It's the KQ8, I believe. I would recommend that kit as far as doing a plumbed in setup. So a few reasons, obviously, for this, if you're doing a plumbed in setup. Number one, you don't want hard water going into the coffee machine. Obviously, you want to be able to have a filter so that, gets all the minerals and other things out. If you've ever, filled a Keurig up just from the tap directly that was unfiltered, you might have experienced issues where, you need to descale it regularly. That's going to go a long way towards helping that. And so they have a kit that has not just the filter and some of the mounting accessories and hardware, but also some of the additional water lines and different things. And that's also where there's a couple things I wanted to talk through in terms of this setup, because there is some information out there online, but I don't think it covers the full extent of setting one of these up. So, if you're doing a setup that is very similar to this and you want to tap off of your ice maker line. So in this case, we're at our new house. This is our ice maker line for where our fridge will go. It hasn't been delivered. It's getting delivered later today. That is going to be probably one of the most common cases or setups for doing this. Really, your other option is, tapping off of a sink, in your water line or something there, splitting what goes to the dishwasher. That's, a little bit more fraught in terms of being able to, get the coffee maker and have the water line accessible to it. You might need to drill into your counter or something like this. If you have an opening from your fridge to some counter space, that's kind of a logical place to do this sort of thing. So the KQ8 kit, I'll link to in the description below. You can check that out. It comes with a bunch of accessories that you'll need, but you'll still probably want to pick a few things up. Few things that I think are really worth picking up separately and that you're probably going to need. So this is a 1/4-inch ice maker line. It has one of kind of the newer push-pull valves, as you can see. Take it or leave it as far as that's a good thing or not, but this actually has, the 1/4-inch kind of insulated line on there for the water feed and the ice maker. The one thing I've bought, and again, I'll leave a couple links in the description for what you can get. This is a 1/4-inch compression tee. So 1/4-inch on all three sides. And, really what you get with the Pure Water Filters kit is they're going to give you sort of a similar tee and setup that you can see right here, but it's really designed for 3/8 hookups. More than likely, if you're tapping off of your ice maker, it's going to be a 1/4-inch hookup. So you probably want to get that 1/4-inch compression tee. That's going to save you a lot of, hopefully, time in setting this up. Now, once you do that, keep this in mind. Obviously, you need a line from your ice maker line, your setup there to get to the tee. Then you would still need a separate 1/4-inch line to go to your actual fridge, right? So in this case, again, you might need, if you don't have a 1/4-inch, ice maker line. I got this 5-foot one from Home Depot, but again, I'll put some links in the description for, some similar ones that you could pick up that would do the job. Now, something you could also get is a 1/4 inch to 3/8 adapter. I mean, again, you could pair that with the T that it comes with to be able to just, be able to still accept a 1/4 inch line on at least where it adapts right here. But again, this part is plastic. I do think it actually, the compression tee that I got and that I'd probably recommend is brass. So something to keep in mind, but I do think ultimately you're going to want that tee. From there, basically it's a matter of setting up the filter and the instructions. Now, fun fact, the instructions they sent with the unit weren't exactly applicable to the actual, coffee maker and the setup we got. So, in this case, they sent sort of this basic set of instructions for setting it up. It's not bad, but what I'm going to recommend, at least for anyone doing a setup with their Keurig or, doing a similar setup to what I'm doing here, is I'll put the instructions on screen that you're going to want to use. The other thing you might want to pick up if you're doing a setup like this is a set of just cutters here. I think this supports up to like 1 inch, but sort of ratcheted pipe cutter. And that's because basically they're going to send, as you can see here, a long, it's like a 15-foot uninsulated 1/4 inch line that you can use to cut and set this unit up. And, you could take, just a regular utility knife or something and do it, but it's not going to be a particularly clean cut. So I would definitely recommend getting a proper, pipe cutter to be able to do that. That should save you some time. Now, ultimately, I already set a good part of this up. We're waiting again for our refrigerator to come here in a moment, but just to talk through basically the instructions and what you're going to want to do. And again, put that on screen so you can see it and, refer back to it. But you'll start with, there is a bracket that you can see here that has an in and an out specifically. Here's the in on the one side. There is the out, a little tough to see on the left here. This is the rear of the unit. You're going to want to start by, screwing that bracket piece that goes around the filter, which is here. And you're going to want to just screw those 4 top screws into that. From there, the filter actually has a top cap, which will just pop off. That's the second step. And then ultimately, you'll just screw it in counterclockwise in this case to go into the mount. So, once you do that, the filter is basically just going to screw into place. As you can see here, it should lock in pretty tightly. So you'll know you're good and secure at that point. Fourth step, and they're going to do this, again, show it once it's not connected here, but to add this 15-foot 1/4 inch line into the water shutoff mechanism. So basically you just pop that in, and again, you should feel when that's pretty secure. And then for the next step, they're going to have you put the water shutoff mechanism and the line you just put into it into the inside. I'll see if I can show that here. In this case, again, think of how water is going to flow. It's going to flow from the ice maker line or that split with the compression tee here into the filter. And then from there, going to go from the filtered water out into the coffee machine. Now, the next step, they're going to have you take that 15-foot line and add it into your water source or wherever it's coming from. So in this case, I'm going to actually eventually add it into the tee here. So let's see if I can focus on that. I'm going to add that into the top of the tee eventually. Haven't done that yet because I'm going to cut the line a little bit shorter, and I'm going to wait till the fridge gets here to be able to tell just, how much I need to do that. But there's something you can do prior to that is to take the line that's going to go from the filter in the out portion that goes into the coffee maker and hook that up. This line does come a little bit longer than it is here, so I did actually cut this, and that's again where, having a little bit of a pipe cutter or, again, even just a utility knife, but something to be able to cut that is going to come in handy. That's also going to be true with this longer line eventually. And then, they have as the final step, connecting this bracket and everything here to the coffee machine. I actually think you can do, again, that's not a truly, a specific sequence. It's not the end of the world if you do some of this sooner rather than later. So, in a moment here, I'll show you what the final setup of this is going to look like with everything working, but that is just an overview. All right, and so we are now actually a fair amount of time after we did the install here. We have the Keurig all ready to go. I've been using it for a little while now, and I have the refrigerator pulled out here just to be able to show what this setup looks like with the three-way compression tee and how that is all working. All right, so just to give a run through of how this is all working, we have the three-way compression tee here. This white line is going from the water ice maker line there on the wall into the tee right there. Then we have the stainless steel or metal line here, which is going directly into the fridge. So we'll try to show right there, not the easiest thing to demonstrate. And then we have the top of the compression tee, as you can see right there, and that line is going directly into the Keurig. So, just to trace that back, kind of a little bit circuitous, we have some extra line bundled up there, and then that traces back into the unit here, along the side there with the water shutoff. We can show that a little bit better. And then that goes directly in, as you can see right there. All leading up to the setup you see here. And so overall, that is how this whole setup works. And yes, I do drink black coffee, for those of you that are curious. So here you can see the Keurig making a cup of coffee, fully plumbed in. We have the filter set up on the rear. And no water reservoir to fill up or to have to worry about in any capacity. So hopefully this video has been of some help to you. Feel free to leave a like and subscribe if it has. Let me know if you're attempting to do a similar setup with your Keurig or another type of coffee or espresso machine. Let me know how that goes. I'm curious to hear. And for now, that is all I have to say. So thanks for watching.